A US-Israeli plan to bring aid into Gaza has suffered a setback. The executive director of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation has resigned. Jake Wood's resignation comes just 2 months after he was tasked to coordinate aid distribution in Gaza. Wood said he sought to establish the organisation as an independent humanitarian entity. He adds that he's proud of the work he oversaw, including developing a plan that could feed hungry people. But he admits that it's not possible to implement the plan whilst also respecting the humanitarian principles of humanity, neutrality, impartiality and independence, which he says he will not abandon. What actually is the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation? Well, it's a new organisation that's meant to control the delivery of aid into Gaza after the Israelis blocked the United Nations from entering the Strip. It's backed by the US and Israel, who say it will stop Hamas from stealing aid. Hamas denies it steals aid. Armed American security contractors will distribute aid from collection points in southern Gaza, but there's no provision for those who are too sick or weakened by famine to walk the long distances across the Strip. The United Nations has rejected the organisation, saying it would not engage with a plan that disrespects humanity, neutrality, independence or impartiality. Rachel Cummings is a humanitarian director at Save the Children, and she joins us from Deir al-Balah in central Gaza. Thanks very much for coming onto the programme, Rachel. We'll talk a little bit more about the actual situation in Gaza in just a moment. First of all, I just want to get your reaction there. The feelings of the aid community towards this organisation, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, being put in charge of delivering aid to Gaza.
The humanitarian community in Gaza, made up of the UN, international NGOs, and of course Palestinian NGOs, is very clear and united in our position in terms of not engaging within this aid system that is not based on our humanitarian principles. That is clear. And what needs to be understood, the complexity of the environment that we have all been operating in for many, many months and being able to deliver services and humanitarian assistance, including food, water, shelter items. We know how to do our jobs. Basically, we need to be allowed to deliver services and supplies to populations in need across Gaza.
Rachel, we've been seeing far too many images of starving children on our screens. You must see even more than us. Describe to us the situation there in Gaza at the moment.
The situation here is desperate, it's dire, and to be a child in Gaza is absolutely unimaginable. You know, over 11 weeks of no food, no supplies entering Gaza, and of course that will have an impact on children's health and mental health status. We are seeing increased numbers of children with malnutrition, very, very concerningly, an increase in pregnant women and breastfeeding women, an increase in their malnutrition status as well. So the situation is desperate. I see children every day walking the streets trying to find food with empty bowls, trying to find water with their empty bottles. It's really desperate. You know, we have mothers telling us how they're trying to keep their children alive, how they're trying to bulk out the food, whatever food they have, bulk it out with grass, with dirty water, knowing that that could result in their child becoming sick. The situation is absolutely desperate.
We're hearing of around 100 trucks being brought in with very little aid carried in. Just give us an idea of how significant that is for the 2.3 million people in Gaza, but also what else needs to happen?
The aid that's arrived in the last 72 hours with the UN and WFP and other UN partners, it is significant, of course, that aid has come into Gaza, and we welcome any aid that comes into Gaza, but it's insignificant in terms of the impact it will have on individuals in Gaza. Very few people will be able to benefit from that. Unfortunately, what is needed is the humanitarian supplies that are in their thousands of trucks outside of Gaza being released and able to enter Gaza, and that includes food for kitchens, it includes water and sanitation items, and also, of course, it includes medicines for hospitals and for the clinics that Save the Children are running and the partners. That's what needs to happen now. But of course, this is a very active and complex war. Bombs are dropping on children every day. So we need a definitive ceasefire in Gaza. We need to be able to access populations and children who are in the most desperate of circumstances. And we need the humanitarian supplies to enter Gaza.
And can those humanitarian supplies, those thousands of trucks you say are needed, can they be brought in via this Gaza Humanitarian Foundation organisation?
We know very little about the mechanics of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. And as I said before, we've been running the humanitarian operations and delivery of services and supplies since the beginning of the war, over 18 months. So we know how to do this. It is very complex, but we are able to do this, and we've demonstrated that over time.
OK. Rachel Cummings, it's been fantastic to get you on to explain a little bit more about the actual situation there on the ground in Gaza. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.